Alright, hi everybody. You might notice that this is not Slay the Spire, this is Trials of Fire. It's one of the many sort of roguelite deck builders that have popped up recently in the wake of Slay the Spire. And I thought I would play through a game of Trials of Fire to demonstrate it. There doesn't seem to be too much Trials of Fire content on YouTube. And I did kind of want to show off this game because I think it has some pretty neat ideas going on. So I'll start out a new adventure. First off, you get to build yourself a party. I'm going to choose the warrior, the warlord, and the hunter this game. Warrior is kind of your tank melee fighter class. Warlord is mostly support, and Hunter has ranged attacks, which are kind of met in this game, and also summoning, which is probably what I'm going to use mostly. One thing that they added in the patch today, they patch every Friday, which is nice. Today they added the ability to switch out your starting weapon. I guess it's nice, a little bit of customization. I'm going to swap out all my weapons. I'll talk about what all these weapons do a little bit later. Each of them have their own card attached to them. I think I'll go with the Bone Claymore on the warrior, and for the warlord, I'll go with the Bone Hammer. All of these are basically made out of bone. So I've chosen all of these based off the starting cards that they give me. One more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the difficulty down to Cataclysm 2. I think Cataclysm 2 is the highest reasonable difficulty in the game right now. There's probably some balancing that they're going to do on the difficulties later in the future. Everything above hard feels a little bit placeholder to me right now, but I think Cataclysm 2 is in a decent spot. And we're going to start. So for this playthrough, I'm probably going to skip over the story and the text for the most part. There's a lot of text in the game. All of the events that we're going to run into have some narration. But for the most part, you can ignore the story and focus on the gameplay if that's what appeals to you. It kind of appeals to me, and also I've read all of these things so many times that I'm a little bit desensitized to them. But if you want to read the story as I go along, feel free to pause the video. Yeah, so the basic premise is that we're a party that's being sent to retrieve the Water Stone, which is an ancient elven artifact, in order to save your town from starving. And there's also a little bit about the setting. There's a cataclysm, which was caused by elves, of course, that kind of ruined the land, and now there's a bunch of monsters walking around, and we'll fight some of these monsters. And basically we're off. So now we're put into this map. So here you can see a few things straight off the bat. So we have these sort of settlements or forts that all have question marks over them. These indicate that there's some event that'll happen if I visit this tile or this tile. Most of the gameplay is on this map wandering towards your destination. So you can see that what I need to do is locate the Elven Temple and retrieve the Water Gem. So I want to head sort of south, this general direction, but along the way I want to visit generally as many events as I can. And the big constraint I have is food supplies, so wandering around costs food, and if your food hits 0, you start to starve, which makes your characters constantly lose health until they die. So in sort of traditional roguelike vein, I guess, there's a pretty strict food clock that keeps you constantly moving towards your destination. So the first thing I'm going to do is visit this first question mark here. It's a store. So usually the ones that look like towns have a store in them. And in a store, you can buy items for obsidian, which is basically gold. I'll probably use them interchangeably. And all the stores always have at least one food, and generally I just always buy food if it's available. And here we have a side quest to, looks like, deliver an item to a town. So I've never seen any downside to accepting side quests, so even if I don't ever make it to this guy to deliver my item, I might as well accept the quest. And I'm going to take a little detour to look at these question marks. And okay, so here's a pretty classic event. So we have 3 choices, and there's an option you can turn on to tell you the gameplay effects of each of these choices. Basically, there's a few effects that you can have. You can either have a battle, which we'll probably get into a battle here, so you can see what that's all about. There's a reward, which is basically you get items, gold, food, and you can take health damage, which means that one of your random characters takes a random amount of damage, and there's a few other things that can show up too. But for the most part, in Cataclysm, it's what I called the hardest reasonable difficulty. Early battles are very, very difficult. So if you know what battles you want to avoid early on, you might want to. I actually think this one, you fight what's called ratlings. Ratlings are one of the hardest early game battles to do. So I'm going to take an option that might avoid a battle here and take a look at the liquid. I didn't get any rewards and I took some damage. So that's the 50% reward, 50% damage. I had some chance to take damage, some chance to get a reward. So here, we have a different sort of event. We can help the woman and get a new follower. So this follower is an apprentice. It allows me to hone items as a camp activity. We'll get into that later, but honing items is something that is very important later in the game, and is something I almost want to have almost always want to have the ability to do. But it's not very useful right now. Okay. It looks like we're going to fight some ratlings here, because battling for food is, as far as I'm concerned, a really good outcome. So all we're going to have to hope for is that we don't... First of all, we're fighting a really good set of ratlings. There's no ratling guards. We'll see some ratling guards later. Ratling guards are the scariest common early game enemy. They're not, I shouldn't say the scariest enemy, because you can see there's stuff like cultists that can show up very early. They're very tough. There's like hybrid enemies are usually stronger than ratlings, though usually there's only a couple of them this early in the game, which can make the encounters a little bit easier. But this should be a pretty good encounter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if I can see from there. So now it's time to talk about content. So each of our characters have 3 cards in our hand. So these cards can each be played for an effect in combat. So swipe is a basic card. Everybody starts with 3 swipes in their starting deck, and you can see the cards in our deck that we're drawing from here. So swipe is a melee attack, so that means if I'm right next to an enemy, I can use a swipe to hit them for 2 damage. So you see they have 7 health, 8 health, so swipe is actually a pretty decent card. It's, funnily enough, one of the better cards in the starting decks, and I'll be keeping it in a lot of the starting decks for a long time. So you're going to be seeing a lot of swipes throughout the game. So here's another type of card, which is Power Shot. So Power Shot is a ranged attack. So a ranged attack can hit anything in line of sight. So if I hover over the Warlord here, you can see a little eye symbol over the Rattling Killer. So that means that he's in line of sight, and I can play the Power Shot to attack the Rattling Killer. So the Hunter is more of a range specialist. So here the Hunter has this card called Long Shot, which has range attack X, where X is the distance to the target. So you saw me counting out the distance here, it's 7. So for example, if I played this Long Shot on the Rattling Killer, which is in line of sight, then the Rattling Killer would take 7 damage and be left at 1 HP. Alternatively, I can walk a little bit and take out one of the Rattling Bowmen instead. So how do I move? So movement can be done with any cards that say move. So if I play this card, it lets me move up to 3 squares away. But there's another way to move too, which is you can recycle any one of your character's cards by right-clicking it, and then it goes up here. You can see a little green flame to indicate that my Hunter is recycled 1 card, and then I can consume that green flame to move up to 2 spaces. So advance goes 3 spaces, but I can always use any card to move 2 spaces for that character. So you can see if I move here, for example, I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 distance from this Rattling Bowman, and this Rattling Bowman cannot see my Hunter, which is nice because this is a ranged attacker, so he can attack with line of sight. Right now he can't see anybody on my team, so he's going to have to use some movement to get into position to fire. And now I can play Long Shot to kill this Rattling Bowman with 1 card. So it's really nice to be able to switch to a card that has Long Shot, because the ability to defeat 1 enemy at the very start of the turn is really, really valuable. So I'm really happy to have Long Shot in my deck already. So in order to play Long Shot, I have to recycle cards. So if you noticed, when I recycled a card before, I got 1 willpower. Willpower is the resource used for cards in this game. So every card I recycle gives 1 willpower. And with 3 willpower, I can play the cost of Long Shot and kill this Rattling Bowman. So now it's already on turn 1, a 2 versus 3 fight. So, as I said, this is a really good set of enemies to face here, because none of them are terribly scary, and they all have pretty low health. So, I'm going to finish this turn by first advancing up here with the warrior. This will make it very difficult for... okay, so probably what I'm expecting is this Rattling Bowman to move. So if it moves here, it can attack the warrior. I'm not very concerned about that, because first of all, I'm going to be giving the warrior some armor very shortly. Some defense or block very shortly. And also because the warrior has 2 armor, which means essentially the first 2 points of damage that it takes are not carried over into the next combat. So I have a little bit of a health buffer on the warrior, a little more than, say, the hunter, which only has 1 armor. I really have no idea what the Rattling Bowman is actually going to do. I don't understand the AI very well in this game. But for the rest of this turn, so Focus is a power. So powers give you a permanent bonus, but if you take too much damage, you lose that permanent bonus. A lot of this game involves you basically playing powers and keeping their bonuses in play as best as you can over the course of a fight. Now this one is not very good. It says every time you play a card that deals range damage, gain 1 willpower. The problem is range damage cards, as I'll get into later, are pretty bad at this stage of the game. So playing range damage cards is not something I'm really interested in doing right now. So I'm going to recycle all of these cards and end turn, which is going to give me 1 block for every card that I recycled and then didn't do anything with by the end of the turn. And you can see the enemy team took their turn. Let me take Quick AI off. That'll help you see what they're doing a little bit better. Quick AI is a nice little option that just speeds up all of the enemies in the game. Once you play enough, you kind of get a good idea of what they're doing. Okay, so this is not what I wanted to see from my cards here. There is no way to attack anybody except with these power shots, which I don't think I'm going to be using, because power shot is really just a very overpriced way to do damage. There's ways to improve your class's base deck, and power shots are one of the first cards I'm going to get rid of, because they are not very useful. So here we have some powers that are much better than Focus. So the first one is Leadership. It's in my Warlords deck. Every time I play a card that affects another friendly character, gain 1 willpower. It's not amazing in the starter deck, but eventually almost every card in the Warlords deck is going to affect another friendly character. So this card is going to basically say, every time I play a card with the Warlord, gain 1 willpower, where willpower is again the resource that is used to play cards. Every character starts with one of these, like whenever you play a card with some condition, gain 1 willpower. Leadership is the best one of all of them. First of all, it only costs 1, all of the rest cost 2. I have no idea why Leadership only costs 1. And second of all, for example, Adrenaline says every time you play a card that deals melee damage, you're not going to fill your deck with nothing but melee damage cards. So, but Leadership, you can more realistically fill your deck with cards that affect other friendly characters. So Leadership is generally a little bit more useful. Alright. So one thing I'm going to do is get my Hunter out of the line of fire of this Rattling Bowman again. Actually, I don't think it's easy for the Rattling Bowman to move anywhere such that the Hunter will be fired upon. So I kind of like this location here. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to be playing this Defend. No matter how I position my other characters, I'm just going to say that the Rattling Killer has a way to get to this Hunter, so I do want to give him a little bit of block. Next, I'm going to... so since I don't have any damage cards, I don't really want to engage this character in melee. This is a sort of melee enemy, and so I'm not going to. I'm going to let him come to me this turn. And instead I'm going to spend this turn playing Leadership. As I said, I like the Leadership card. I think it's pretty good. And I'm also going to play Adrenaline, because I think it's just more useful than a little bit more defense or rearranging my characters a little bit more. So you can see Skulk was the card that would let the Rattling Killer get in range of my Hunter pretty much no matter what happened. And I think we were a little bit unlucky there. He managed to get through the block and deal 2 damage to the Hunter. So it had 1 armor, now it has 0 armor. It's taken 1, I guess, permanent damage already this combat. And again, I'd say we're a little bit unlucky. We didn't draw very many useful attacks this turn. But we did draw attacks. And one thing we can now do is we can now get rid of this Rattling Bowman. So the first thing I'm going to do for that objective is move my warrior into position, and I'll also move my hunter to assist the warrior. And now I've got 2 melee attacks in this hand, and we're going to use them. So first, I will get rid of Prepare here to play the swipe, and then now you'll get to see the combo attack mechanic. So this is one of the core mechanics in combat. Whenever I attack this Rattling Bowman with the warrior, and I have an adjacent enemy that's not surrounded, he will automatically add a combo strike, which is an extra hit on this enemy for 1 additional damage. And now I'm going to need a little bit of luck, and we'll see if RNG is kind to me today. Okay, I don't need luck, but so I have 2 choices. I can play Inspire here, which will give me back 1 energy, since it, or 1 willpower, since it affects an enemy, affects an ally. And playing Inspire, recycling March and Defensive Stance, and then playing Wild Strike will kill the Rattling Bowman with higher probability. So right now I need this to do at least 3 damage. With that I would only need it to do 2 damage. So I think that's a pretty good gamble. Alright, I did 6 damage, it's okay. One thing that does do is leave my Warlord a little bit more open to the Rattling Killer. I think that's an okay trade-off. This is going extremely well for a first fight already. Alright. He happened to not have any damage cards in his hand, which is, I'd say, pretty fortunate to me. Pretty fortunate for me. I just have to decide now how I want to play this turn. We're definitely, I think, not going to be able to defeat the Rattling Killer this turn. So I think I want to get him to come towards us and then defeat him next turn. So what I'm going to do is run away. So now he needs 2 movements to get to any of the characters on our team. And now from here, I'm going to actually use these ranged attacks to deal some damage to him from range. So it is possible that he can deal damage to me this turn. I think what's likely is he'll take 2 movement actions and then attack my warrior with a swipe or something. But it's not a big deal. My warrior still has 2 armor, so I can still ignore the first 2 points of damage that my warrior takes. The only reason he can move 2 and attack is because of the difficulty Cataclysm, the enemies cheat and get 1 bonus willpower for every turn. So in that sense, all the enemies are actually a little bit stronger than me right now. The big advantage I have is that I almost always go first in this game, which is a really big deal. Okay, so he wasn't even able to attack, or decided not to, I don't know. I don't understand the AI sometimes, haven't gotten a good handle on its decision making, but I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this combat here with a swipe. I'm just doing it this way to show again how combo attacks work. Pardon me. The warrior attacks for 2 damage, and then each of my allies, which are adjacent, pitch in 1 additional damage, which is just enough for lethal. Alright, so that's the first combat. And after combat, you always get some sort of reward. So here we have a crafting material, which I will get into later. We have a new bow for a hunter. Food supplies, very important. That's why I took this battle in the first place. And some obsidian to basically buy more food later. It's all about food. And now, after every battle, you get to level up one of your characters. So when you level up, you can see my core deck of 9 cards for my character here. I can replace one of these 9 cards with one of the 6 randomly chosen alternative class skills. So, Tackle is one of them. It looks like it got a stealth buff this patch. I don't remember seeing that mentioned. It used to move 3, now it moves 4. And inflicts weakened on adjacent enemies. So weakened is a really powerful status effect that makes the enemies deal -2 damage on their next attack and disables combo strikes until they attack. So this is a dramatic reduction in damage. Defensive movement is a power. It says whenever you defend on your turn, activate this character. So defend isn't just playing the card defend, it's any effect that gives you defend, which is like block. It reduces the amount of damage you take. Goad is a really strong power that says melee attacks deal +1 damage per adjacent enemy. So if you have 3 adjacent enemies, everything does 1 extra damage. And it only costs 1. It's a very efficient power for gaining additional damage. We have Bulwark, which costs 1, defends for 6. It's the strongest unconditional block card in the game, I think. So it's nice for that. Measured Blow is basically a strict upgrade to a swipe. Instead of just attacking for 2, it attacks for 2 and defends for 2. It's an alright card. Definitely a decent upgrade, but probably not a card I'm going to be taking. And last but not least, we have Intimidate, which is inflict weakened 2 on all enemies within 2 spaces. So, before the patch today, this said inflict weakened 1 on all enemies within 2 spaces, and Tackle was basically just better, since you could also move before you inflict weakened, but smaller range, I don't know. I guess they both have their uses. I kind of liked both cards, but now this says inflict weakened 2, and weakened 2 is the next 2 attacks, deal -2 damage. Plus you lose 1 stack of weakened at the start of your turn, so if they don't attack, it might carry over to the next turn. We'll see a little bit of that in action, because I'm going to be taking Intimidate here, and I'm going to be replacing, for now, an Advance. So Advance lets you move 3, but any card says you can move 2, so it's not really necessary to have advances in your deck, especially when part of the Warlord's deal is to let you activate characters and move them around without them having to play cards. Alright, so we'll finish this event, And, oh, this event has even more rewards. So those were just the combat rewards. Now these are the event rewards, so I get even more food. Some obsidian, a nice armor item, and some more crafting materials. And now we're off. I see another question mark over here, so I'm just going to wander towards it. I think I moved a little bit efficiently. I was just right next to here at the start of the run, so maybe I could have gone here a little bit earlier, but that's okay. Okay, so this is a really nice event. It has an option which gives, well, someone on my team a perk. Guaranteed perk. It has a chance of injuring my character, but that's okay. I do want this perk. It's a very good perk. So it looks like it's going to Shanna. So Shanna is going to get injured. Unfortunately, not a big deal. I can remove it. So an injury is basically a useless card in your deck that sometimes has an extra penalty tacked on. So this card, whenever you draw it, you take 1 unblockable damage, and you also have a useless card instead of something that's more useful. Well, it's not entirely useless because you can recycle it for willpower or movement, but generally you want to get rid of the injuries as quickly as possible, which I'm going to show you how to do very shortly. So I'm injured, but I also get Selfless. So Selfless is a perk. It's permanently added to my Warlord's deck, and it says take 2 unblockable damage, then all friendly heroes draw a card. This, I think, in my opinion, is the best general perk in the game. Taking 2 unblockable damage is a great trade-off for everybody drawing a card, especially since the armor system means that the first damage you take isn't permanent anyway, so you can afford to take a little bit of unblockable damage every fight. And drawing a card for everybody is a really big deal. So if you count this one as replacing itself, this is basically draw 2 for free, which is something that's going to be really helpful, especially early in the game. Alright, so now there's a stamina meter. If we look at the top here, you can see the stamina is constantly decreasing as we wander. And once it hits this first yellow bar, you start to get tired, and you have penalties in every fight. So whenever you're at a fort or a town or shelter, you generally want to rest if your stamina is starting to get close to that yellow bar. And it will basically bring you back to full. I think this is 60% stamina is this yellow bar. So resting in a fort will give me 30% stamina, bring me pretty much back to full. And one thing you can do is choose a camp activity. So my follower lets me hone equipment. I'm not going to do that. I can also heal my injury, which is definitely what I want to do. This will permanently get rid of my internal bleeding, but costs me a healing herb. So a healing herb is a scarce resource that is basically just used to remove injuries, and occasionally it can also be used to heal your ally by dragging it onto them. It heals by, like, I don't know, a third of their health. Heals about a third of their health. I'm not sure. 40%? I don't know. Heals some portion of their health. But generally what you want to do is use it to get rid of injuries. That's the best use of healing herbs as far as I'm concerned in this game. So we're going to rest, and now we've cured the internal bleeding. Great. And now we can continue on. I'm going a little bit to the left because we haven't been here yet. There could be more events. And also it's a little bit closer to the quest to deliver my package. And here is another event. So we have two options. Well, I already gave up the chance to pass by this event. Often I might pass by this event, but early game I kind of want loot, and I think that injuries are an acceptable risk. But I did not get an injury. I just got some items, some very nice items. This is crafting materials, which it's kind of a late game thing, mid to late game thing to craft, usually. Oh, I did get an injury. This is the least bad injury. I might even... I'll probably still remove it as soon as possible. Alright, I'm gonna take a slight detour, hit up these three things. Alright, looks like I'm going to be doing a battle with the injury in my deck. It's not a big deal. And first, before I do the battle, I want to equip all these items that I just got. So the shield, let's say block, I'm going to put it on the warrior. It also gives 1 additional armor, so now she has 3 armor. Hand wraps give a card that says move 2. The next card you play this turn costs -2 willpower. It's a very good card to cheat out expensive cards. Person with the most expensive cards is my hunter, so I'm going to give it to him. And I also have a new bow. I actually don't like the cards on this bow late game, but early game you take all the power you can get, especially when you have a weakness in your deck. So we're going to equip it. And it's going to be nice. It's still, I think, worse than the Bone Longbow, because both of these cards are much worse than Longshot, but that's okay. And now we're going to enter the battle. So this battle has a special feature, an Aurora Storm, and we're going to see what that does after our first turn. So first of all, definitely going to recycle this minor injury. Okay, so we have a bandit archer here. I don't have any cover on my side, so probably going to take some damage from this archer. Hopefully doesn't have very good cards in his hand. I'm going to start by marching to get everybody close together, sort of. I'm going to put my warrior here. I don't want my warlord to take damage from the archer this turn. I don't think he's going to move to target the warlord. I could be wrong. So I'm going to put him behind the warlord. I think I'm going to make the warlord defend. Move my hunter here. Now I'm considering whether I want to move my hunter out of the archer's line of fire so that he definitely doesn't target the hunter, because I don't really want the hunter to take damage this turn either. Again, I've got an unfortunate first draw. There's not really any useful cards to have turn 1 in my hand, which I'm not very happy about. In fact, they're so unuseful that I'm going to spend 2 willpower doing a power shot on the enemy archer before moving into cover. And then I'm going to recycle the swipe and keep my Intimidate in my hand. Whatever cards you don't recycle, carry over into the next turn. So now I have Intimidate available for this turn, when all of these enemies come close enough to be within two spaces to be able to use this Intimidate. So now you can see this Aurora Storm feature. Basically, there's all these red, pinkish regions, and if you end your turn in one of these red, pinkish regions, you take 3 damage. So 3 damage is a lot right now. I really don't want to end my turn in any of these pink regions, and they're unfortunately placed to be as inconvenient as possible. The game does not do this on purpose, I think, but it has done it to me this turn. So this is actually a little bit problematic. I really don't like the positioning of these this turn, but I'm going to have to make do. What I think is going to happen this turn is I'm going to use Intimidate on my warrior to intimidate the 2 bandits, and then move my warrior maybe here, and then these 2 will probably attack the warrior if the warrior is here right next to them. But Intimidate means she shouldn't really take much damage. And then I'm going to have to move the warlord out of these areas, and I probably want to play leadership. Defensive stance, I don't know, defensive stance might be better with the starter deck, but Selfless is a card that affects allies, so there is a card in my deck that does that, even after March and Inspire are already done. And I'll probably just Arcing Shot the Bandit Robber to try and get rid of Offensive Stance. So Offensive Stance has 3 durability. You can see the little green number, or number in green. So if I get rid of Offensive Stance, then my warrior is less likely to take any damage, so that's nice. So I'm going to implement this strategy here. So get out of the Aurora Storm. I'm going to play Arcing Shot. That's a nice luck there. I'm going to play okay, I'm not going to be playing a power this turn. I guess I slightly miscalculated. Part of the difficulty with this game is there's some actions you can undo, which is very nice, but undos are pretty limited in that you can only undo the last non-attack action that you've done. So, for example, I can move, and then I can click here to undo recycling and moving. But it seems kind of random to me what sort of things are able to be undone. Movement seems generally safe. Drawing cards can't be undone for obvious reasons. Attacking can't be undone, I have no idea why. And even when it's not a random attack number, like that previous card. I kind of wish you could undo more things in this game. But part of the side effect is it really helps to plan out your entire turn before you do anything, which can make this game go a little bit slowly in combat, I think. The ability to undo more things, or even undo more than your last thing, would go a long way to making combat a little bit quicker. And there's often some frustration when you realize that, like, you didn't quite calculate that turn correctly. Because I forgot, for instance, that I needed to move this warlord out of the Aurora Storm, where she's going to take 6 damage. That's way too much. So I'll go ahead and do that now. I'll move her up here. And I will play Intimidate. That's very important. It will dramatically reduce the amount of damage I take this turn. And I'm going to hang on to leadership. And now my hunter is probably going to take some damage. We'll see. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yep. Alright, so you can see that the enemy bandit archer decided not to move out of the Aurora Storm. And same with this bandit robber. That's actually kind of unusual. Usually the AI prioritizes getting out of danger, but I'm happy to see it not prioritizing getting out of danger. This Deadeye increases all range attacks damage by 2. And it has 3 durability. This guy's going to take 3 damage. That will remove Deadeye for free, so I don't really have to worry about that this turn. Instead, what I'm going to worry about this turn is trying to defeat one of these enemies. So, we're not playing leadership. What we're going to do is get rid of this bandit robber. And the way we're going to do it is by playing first Clash. So Clash is an attack that does double damage if the target has any defense. And then we're going to play Wide Sweep, which does 5 damage to all adjacent enemies. So very nice card to have early game. 5 damage is a lot, and 10 damage is a huge amount for 3 willpower. So, recycle 2 more cards and get that Wide Sweep played. We also took off the offensive stance from this bandit robber. So, and he's still weakened, so probably not really going to do anything with his first attack. And finally, I'll use this power shot to give our hunter 1 defense. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use the fact that warrior or robber or whatever it is was inside the Aurora Storm's effect. I don't think I had quite enough attack to be able to use that. But that's okay. We still managed to defeat him that turn. And then this turn, we're going to be able to hopefully take out another enemy. I'm going to start by playing Selfless. See what we draw. Alright. That's a very good draw. So we're definitely going to be defeating this bandit archer this turn. The question I have is whether we can defeat both enemies this turn. And I'm not sure. Alright, so I'm thinking we're not going to be able to defeat both enemies this turn. We're going to leave the bandit robber alive, which is totally okay since it is not going to be able to do any damage to anybody this turn. So, the way we're going to do this is I'm thinking, yeah, after all, I think I'm going to use the long shot on the bandit archer. So the furthest way I can get is, I believe, here, with just 1 walk. And then from here, walk reduced long shot by 2. So we're going to attack with long shot here. Our warlord is going to walk down, and now we can do a combo strike to take care of the bandit archer. And for the rest of this turn, we're just going to defend. There's no way this enemy is going to deal damage to us. So, I feel pretty safe taking that line of play. Um, Now we just have to calculate whether we can defeat this guy, and we definitely can. All we have to do now is play 2 swipes, and that's the combat. Okay, so we made it through the first 2 combats while losing almost no health. I think we lost a total of like 2 health in the first 2 combats. That's almost a miracle in Cataclysm 2. This run is looking very, very promising so far. We're going to spend our second level up on the Warlord. I think the Warlord has some of the best early game cards, so I'm very happy to use my second upgrade to get rid of this power shot and replace it with something better. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's 3 good options in this upgrade. I'll talk about the 3 that I'm not going to take first. First, Inspiring Strike. Melee attack 2 grants Inspired to all other friendly characters, and which increases all melee ranged and magic damage dealt. This card is a bit awkward to use. It's definitely much better than a swipe, but especially early game, it's not clear that you're going to even be able to use the Inspired buff, and there's just generally better options, I think, in the Warlord's repertoire. Though Inspired can be nice if you have some synergy around it a little bit later. Regroup, remove a stack from each named effect on friendly characters. This card is actually, I think, bugged right now. It removes all debuffs from all friendly characters. So it's very powerful, but enemies at this stage of the game, I'm not very worried about their named effects or debuffs, so I'm not going to be taking it. Calming Presence. At the start of each turn, the first card played by each friendly character costs -1 willpower. This is one of the more mediocre willpower gaining cards. It does give you up to 3 willpower, but it has low durability, it costs 3, it requires you to actually play cards from each character instead of just one character. It requires you to want to play cards that cost at least 1 willpower. I think it's a little bit too conditional to be putting into the deck right now. So the options that are good, I think, are Show the Way. So Show the Way is the best movement card in the game, in my opinion. Move 3, and then activate all other friendly characters. We are going to want some copies of this card, and probably as many as I can find this run, and I'm doing pretty well, so I think I can afford to take a card that's not very good currently. This card is the weakest of the 3 right now. Encourage. All friendly characters within 3 spaces get +1 to all damage. This is one of the best powers in the entire game. You can put this on the Warlord, and everybody else basically in your team gets 1 damage, and the Warlord doesn't even have to do anything. It's really, really good. I'm probably going to pick up a copy eventually. Then we have Back to Back. Defend on self and all adjacent friendly characters until they have 4 defense. So, if you think about defend, 0 willpower, defend 2 for yourself. This early game, before you care about it only increasing to 4 defense, this is essentially defend everybody on the team for 4 for 1 willpower. This card is incredible, though you don't want maybe more than 1 or 2 copies. I probably wouldn't take more than 2 copies of this card, but if you want some really good early game power, go ahead and take Back to Back. I doubt you're going to regret it, especially when you have cards like Show the Way in your deck. activating all friendly characters basically lets you move them to spaces. You can easily reposition so that everybody is back to back, and this card is great. Alright, so I'm going to take Show the Way, since we're doing really well so far. I can afford to take cards that aren't... Oh, I said I was replacing Power Shot. I replaced Advance. I'll replace Power Shot next time. Afford to take some cards that aren't amazing. Currently, but will be amazing later on. So now that we're finished with the battle, we get to shop. We only have 87 gold, so once again, only going to buy food supplies. Basically, I'm going to take food whenever I have the option to this game. Food is really good to have. Oh, wait. I was trying to think about where we came from and where this quest marker probably is. I think it's probably pretty close, actually, since I feel like it's changed direction rapidly, so I think we've kind of gone in a semicircle around it, so it's probably just out of sight. So I think we'll be going there soon. Alright, here's an event. I can take a reward for 50% chance of health damage. I think that's a great option. I got a great reward. I'm pretty happy. And... okay, I'll go here. I'm going to rest to regain stamina. And then I'm going to head and complete that quest. Oh, the quest disappeared. I really wish I could see a timer on quests, because I hate it when quests just randomly disappear without warning. Oh man, that's one of the complaints I have about this game. But at least here we got some nice items. We got food supplies, got a shaman rod, probably not going to use. Obsidian coins, always good. Heavy breastplate is a strict upgrade to one of the items I have. And we're going to get rid of the sentry and rest. I see a town up here. I can go a little bit out of my way to go up here, buy food, maybe there's an event. But I'm not sure it's worth it. It might cost just as much food to take the round trip as I get, and I would need to spend gold to buy food anyway, so I'm just going to continue on in this direction. Alright, so here we have a blue choice. So if you have certain characters or followers in your party, it unlocks some blue choices, which are often, but not always, better than the other options you can take. So here I basically get free food, and then I get to shop. I am on board 100% for free food and shopping. One thing I'm going to do is sell one of my items. I'm going to sell the shaman rod so that I can just buy one more food. Just try and get as much food as I can. It's possible I shouldn't have done that, since we have two very close by events here, and this one is a town, so it's likely to have food that I can buy, but I'd say better safe than sorry when it comes to food. I'm not too concerned. Okay, so now, before this fight, I'm going to equip the items I got. I'll put on the helmet, one more armor, one more useful card. So here we have a metal axe. A metal axe is actually... I can only equip one of these two items, so I have to decide whether I prefer the wide sweep or the mighty blow and the charge. It's actually a very close call. Charge is not a card that I'm excited about using, and I do think that wide sweep is a little bit better than mighty blow, but it's nice having two attacks when a lot of my starter deck is cards I'm not excited about playing. It's nice to have two cards that I'm fine with playing. So it's like the better card in Wide Sweep versus two cards I'm a little less excited about in Metal Axe. And Mighty Blow is definitely better than Wide Sweep sometimes. There is that. But I think I'm going to keep the Wide Sweep. And I'm going to equip the Heavy Breastplate on Shanna. So the Heavy Breastplate is a strict upgrade to Bone Armor. It does the exact same thing, but it gives you 1 additional armor. I do think the art looks really weird for the Heavy Breastplate. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that art. Oh well. And now we're going to fight. So here we have a different faction. Before we fought Ratlings and Robbers, or whatever they're, Bandits was the last one. Now we have Chard. So Chard are one of those groups of non-humans that are wandering the land after the Cataclysm. There's, I think, 3 Chard enemies, and here you can see the 2 most common ones. You have the Skirmishers, which are archers, and you have the Warriors, which are warriors. And Chard tend to have a pretty decent health pool and pretty non-threatening cards. So on this difficulty, they're okay to see early. I definitely prefer them to Ratlings. They're some of the best. They might be the best faction to see early, except they have a chance of spawning the 3rd enemy, which is a Cultist, and a Cultist is something I'm very much not happy to see early. If you bump up the difficulty a little bit, Chard are just ridiculous because you often get a lot of them, and then the Warriors have like 19 health. The health scales with difficulty, and a 19 health Warrior is not fun. But part of that is why I said Cataclysm 2 is the most reasonable hard difficulty in this game. The biggest reason behind that is starting at Cataclysm 3, every enemy gains +1 damage. So if you think about every single enemy giving +1 damage, plus they have 2 willpower to start instead of 1, so they're cheating even more, and they have more HP. Every enemy team is just significantly stronger than you. I think it's possible to beat Cataclysm 3, but it would take some pretty significant luck to be able to do it. So I'm very happy to start with Long Shot in my hand again, but what I want to do is figure out how much damage it's going to deal. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seems to be the most we can do. So I'm probably just going to fire from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well the other option is to fire from here, do 6 + 2, basically spend my entire turn eliminating this Chard Skirmisher. I'm starting to really like that option. To the point where I'm going to take it, I think. So, Show the Way can be used to activate all other friendly characters, which means that the hunter will be able to move into the corner to get further away to deal 6 damage to the Chard Skirmisher. So the first thing I'm going to do is move up this Warlord, I guess here, and allow the hunter to move here to get into a range 6 long shot. And now I need to spend 5 to cover the long shot and the power shot, so I will do that now. I'm going to get rid of every other card to play long shot and then power shot, use the free movement for the warrior, and then gain 1 block for my hunter. Hopefully the charged skirmisher will target the hunter. Take aim, didn't really want to see that. But only took 1 damage. That's a good outcome as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so once again, we drew Selfless. I'm just going to go ahead and play it. It's always nice to draw first. Okay, so one thing we can do is take the take aim away from this charged skirmisher. 2, 3. I was thinking about whether I want to defeat the charged skirmisher this turn. It's definitely possible. What that will entail is using advance to get the warlord into range, and then I need to spend 3 more movements because my warrior doesn't have any movement cards, and so one thing I could do is redraw. So redrawing is an option that replaces all the cards in your hand with the next cards in the deck. So you discard all the cards in your hand and you draw that many cards. So your first level up gives you access to 1 redraw, which is a huge advantage to be used in combat. And redraws refresh after every combat, so you might as well use the 1 redraw you're given. Really, the first level up in this game is a huge spike in power. The difference between having all your characters level 0 and having all your characters level 1 is enormous. You get to replace like your least useful card with a way better card, and you get to redraw once. So that's part of why, especially on higher difficulties, the first few combats are arguably the hardest part of the entire game. On Cataclysm 2, I'd say on average I probably lose a character, like they die, go to 0 health in the first combat or 2. Usually I'm not able to use all these healing herbs just to remove injuries that I got from events. So this is in many ways a phenomenal start. But yeah, so I can advance here. I can remove swipes, defend to get my warrior all the way up here. And then I can clash and swipe, and I think I can still defend on my hunter down here at the very end of all of that. So basically all of that results in defeating the charged skirmisher and playing defend on my hunter. So if I just make sure I have enough willpower to do that, so advance, so I spend these 3 on movement, this, so that's 1, 2, 3 cards. Okay, so I do have enough to be able to do that. So another option would be to go down here and play swipe, swipe, clash. So each swipe is 4 damage with the combo attacks. Clash is 5 damage with the combo attacks. So 4 plus 4 plus 5 is exact lethal on the charred warrior. But then the charged skirmisher is free to attack us next turn, and I'm a little bit afraid of the damage that it might do. So it might not be the right choice, but I'm going to go for this line of play. I just realized that I might have been able to kill him with ricochet shot. I'm really confused by this card sometimes. It's why I don't like using it. I think it also might hit the Charred Warrior, so there's definitely that. There's also Arcing Shot, so Arcing Shot would have given me a chance to kill this Charred Skirmisher without walking all the way over here with this Warrior. But it's only a chance. I'd much rather be sure. So, I don't think the Hunter had a way to deal with that enemy, but I'm not entirely sure. And I think this line of play will work out just fine for us. Alright. All good. Okay, so one thing is every enemy has a zone of control. So because my Hunter is all the way in the corner here, he can only move one space if I ask him to this turn. So it's a little bit difficult to move this Hunter out of the corner. One thing I can do though is I can bring my warrior in range of this Charred Warrior, and from there I can intimidate the Charred Warrior, which means he's basically not dealing any damage next turn. I'm going to bring the Warlord closer as well, and just in case, I'm going to defend for 2 on this Hunter. I'm not even sure that's necessary, but just to be careful, just to make sure that there's no way I take any damage this turn. Oh boy. Okay, since I don't have any block cards on this Warlord, I'll keep the Warlord out of combat this turn, and I'll just spend this turn basically attacking the Charred Warlord with these 2 characters. So, recycle Adrenaline to get into range. I'm not going to be using the Warlord's cards. If the Warrior wants to get to the Warlord, it's going to take 2 movement cards. So it's possible, but I don't think that the AI is going to do that. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And we're going to wide sweep, swipe, and just discard these 2. So now I might take a little bit of damage. Basically down to luck. He's attacking the more armored character. Okay, I don't understand the AI. That made no sense to me as a human. But I'm just a human. Now he's dead. Okay, we got a makeshift crossbow. Definitely not using that. And now we finally get to level up the Hunter. So, now that we're leveled up, you can see I have lots of summon cards available to take. So summons allow you to add an ally in combat. So you play this card. Summons tend to be very expensive, but when you play them, you get another ally that can move and attack and has health and attracts fire from the enemies. Summons are basically the good thing that hunters can do currently. Cover Shot is one of the better range attacks that the hunters have. So if you're going range attacks, you probably want a couple Cover Shots. The problem with Cover Shot is it's range attack 3, which is mediocre, and it gives you defend 4, but only if you're adjacent to cover. And you can't count on there being any cover at all in any given map, so it's a little bit inconsistent. Line up, move 2, your next attack this turn deals +2 damage. This was actually just buffed. This patch used to say +1 damage. +2 damage is actually significantly better. This is a card that I might consider taking before I get any unlocks. Unfortunately, all of the summons have to be unlocked for the hunter. That's one thing I'm not really a fan of in this game, all of the card unlocks, and they do take a while to unlock. The last card is Take Aim. Take Aim is a card that the enemy charged skirmishers, charged archers use. It makes all range attacks deal +1 damage, and it's free, but it only has 1 durability. I personally think this card is awful, because having 1 durability is way too restrictive. This card will be knocked off by like a stiff breeze. The only real way to protect this card is to protect it by playing other powers with higher durability before it, because I don't think you can guarantee that you're never going to take 1 random damage from enemies. There's lots of ways for enemies to deal like 1 damage to your hunter somehow. And because enemies can walk through you with certain cards, some cards deal damage from anywhere on the battlefield, it's way too hard to keep this Take Aim on. I know you're maybe not, maybe the design is not that you're supposed to keep powers on, but if you think about this versus lineup, if you play 2 attacks, you've just outperformed lineup. So it's kind of okay to just have this buff for 1 turn, but I don't know. This card has always felt very underwhelming to me. But now we have the choice between all 3 summons that the hunters have. We have Glass Wizard. Glass Wizard has melee and ranged resistance, so it takes less damage from attacks. Great summon. Probably going to take it. Bone Wolf. It has the special ability to perform combo attacks in response to range attacks, and its combo attacks are better. This, I think, is the 2nd best class summon, but the combo attacks in response to ranged attacks is something I'm not going to be using too much, and it has a weaker melee attack, and it doesn't have damage resistance, and it doesn't have more health, I think. One thing that's not shown on these cards, you can't see their health, which I think is kind of important. You can't see their movement range, which I think Bone Wolf, for some reason, has a larger movement range than the other 2, but that also usually isn't very important. The last summon is Direbat. Direbat is the worst summon. It has a pitiful attack, which is actually not that important. The biggest deal is that it only has 3 health, so it's very hard to keep the Direbat alive. And right now we don't want to be wasting resources protecting a Direbat that costs 2 to play, so we are not going to take it. On the bright side, at the start of your turn, it inflicts an exposed on all relevant enemies. So exposed is one of the best debuffs in the game. It makes all enemies take 1 additional damage from basically everything, which includes combo strikes. So if you're surrounding an enemy and hitting them and they have exposed, they're basically taking twice as much damage. So exposed is something that I'm going to want, and it's one of the hunter's kind of class debuffs. So it's something that I'm going to be getting a source of eventually. For now, I'm going to replace... we're going to do an advance again with a Glass Lizard. And now all of my characters are level 1. We're past the biggest early game hump, so I'm actually feeling really good about this run already. I feel like the difficulty balance in this game is a little bit disappointing to me. So it kind of works out that the very first part of the game is very difficult. And then you go on a few legs of the quest. So it turns out this quest that I'm on has 3 legs. The first leg, I'm getting the water gem. Second leg, I guess spoiler, I'm doing something with the water gem. And then third quest, I'm bringing the water gem back home. Each of these legs of the quest has a boss encounter. The first boss encounter, so after early game, which I guess is up to that first boss encounter, it starts out really, really hard and then gets a little bit easier. And then there's a little bit of a difficulty spike on that first encounter. I think it's definitely tougher than the stuff that surrounds it. And then I'd say the game is relatively easy for the second leg of the journey until you get to the second boss. And then the second boss is very easy. It's easier than a lot of normal encounters. And then you go on the third leg of the journey, which is, I guess, a little harder than the second boss. And then you get to the final boss, which is the hardest encounter in the game, definitely. It's much harder than everything else you've encountered. A lot of people lose the game on the boss, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing to have a really hard final boss. It encourages you to make good choices when crafting your deck leading up to the boss. But I do think the encounters leading up to it could be a little bit more difficult, because it feels a little bit to me like the challenge sort of drops off between the first leg of the journey and the final boss. Other than there's just a few hard encounters sprinkled in throughout the game, and you can even avoid a lot of those by taking the appropriate choices in events if you know what they are. So, speaking of this event, it's another side quest. I'm going to take it. I, again, don't think there's really any downside to agreeing to side quests. So now I have a decision. Do I want to rest, or do I not want to rest? Do I want to head towards this town with no gold? Probably not. I'm just going to go ahead and rest. I've got lots of food, so I'm not afraid of being a little bit inefficient with my stamina recovery. One thing I can do at this point is craft. So there's a crafting system in this game. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It basically lets you... it's another sort of form of meta progression in this game, and I'm never a huge fan of meta progression. The idea behind crafting is you can use these crafting resources to craft any item that you've seen in any previous playthrough, except for legendary items, which are very rare. So for example, one of my characters has hand wraps right now. I can spend 2 treated leather to craft a hand wrap. Or one of my characters has this shield. I can spend 2 treated leather to craft this shield. So basically right now, the only things I can really craft are things that only take treated leather. And there's not really anything that I want. The most tempting, I'd say, no, there's just not really anything I want. It's easy to just find equipment that you need, and then later in the game you can use crafting to fill in actual holes in your equipment. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about the equipment I have. So, you can rest without doing anything else, and all it does is gain you stamina. If you rest in town, you always get +1 health to all your allies, no matter what you do, even if you hone equipment. So I see some bandits down here. I'm feeling good about fighting stuff, so I'm just gonna fight them. There's some enemies that just wander the overworld, Every single enemy wandering the overworld, I think, turns into a fight if you run into them. So I'm pretty happy to do that. I was just trying to remember if I forgot to equip anything that I wanted to equip. I think the only thing I really got was the blue crossbow. Or not blue, the crossbow. And I was not really interested in that crossbow. I'm just going to drink some water. My throat is very dry right now. Alright. This is a much tougher encounter. We've got bandits again. 2 bandit archers. Bandit archers have a lot of hit points. We're not going to be able to pick them off. They're far away. Probably we're not going to be able to deal with them until this bandit fighter comes over. And bandit fighters... I'm not sure why this guy looks like a charred warrior in his portrait. But bandit fighters are very scary. They have powers that you really need to get rid of immediately. So I'm probably not going to be able to afford to focus on these bandit archers before I defeat this bandit fighter. And we're probably going to, in subsequent turns, use some redraws to just make sure that we can deal with this bandit fighter, hopefully next turn. The one thing that I'm most interested in doing this turn is playing a glass lizard. The lizard, again, is a summon. When you use the summon, it's taken out of your deck, and it joins the battle on your side, has health. It will take some shots from these bandit archers. I'm hoping it won't die, but if it does die, that's a lot of damage that I didn't take. And remember, it has ranged resistance 1, so it takes a lot less damage from these bandit archers. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure there's any effect in the game that gives range resistance without giving melee resistance. I'm not sure they need to be separate, but it's okay that they're separate. It's just another keyword. Sometimes you can have an overload of keywords in games. So what we're going to do with this hunter is go ahead and play the glass lizard here. I'll try here. So if I play it here, it's... So the fighter can get to it. There's a bug that makes enemies sometimes pass their turn if they're blocked by another enemy. That might happen here. We'll see. It's possible that we don't have to deal with the fighter this turn. But the fighter can advance to the glass lizard, which is something I'm not sure I want. So I might undo that and play it right in front instead. Another option is to go close and start surrounding the archers immediately, but I think I just want to focus on the fighter first before I deal with surrounding the archers. This might be something that is just an incorrect choice. Whoops. Here you can see me making significant use of the undo feature. Alright, I'm going to move allies into position a little bit. Defend here, block here, defend. I don't really want an arcing shot, so we'll go with this. I'm not very confident about that turn being optimal in any way. Okay, so the bandit fighter did basically pass its turn. I don't know. I feel like that does happen sometimes when it's just blocked by an ally, and I don't understand how to take advantage of that consistently. Maybe it's good that I don't understand how to take advantage of that consistently, but we've got long shot. So with long shot, I'm pretty happy to take away this Deadeye. I don't think we're going to be killing this bandit archer, but I do think we will be 3, 4, 5 shooting this guy for 5 damage. Let's move. So if I move the summon up here, it blocks this bandit archer's shots kind of nicely. So I do like it being up there. The downside is 1, 2, 3, 4 movement, or 1. No, it doesn't block the movement. So I think I'm okay putting this summon up here. I'm not going to be playing either of those cards. I'm not going to be playing a swipe or a power shot. And now I get rid of the Deadeye. Deadeye is very important to get rid of. I am very happy that I had a way to remove Deadeye from this bandit archer almost as soon as it came into play. Now I can use Head Rush to basically put my warrior in a position to tank everything next turn. And I will also go ahead and play my copy of Leadership. Hoping to draw Selfless this turn. It's okay. You can see that they're not going for the summon for some reason. I don't get it. And once again, like, the bandit fighter just passed his turn. It's so weird how it likes to just skip its turn if it's blocked by an ally. But now it's not blocked by an ally. I don't think it's going to be skipping its turn anymore. So that's okay. This might be a turn where I go ahead and redraw, because there's different cards I want for the different characters, and so these cards are not useful for the Warlord, so I'm going to redraw the hand, and now I can play Selfless. Leadership is in play, so Selfless also gains me 1 willpower. Very happy to play it. So the biggest thing I'm considering doing right now is taking out this bandit archer right here. So in order to do that, I can start by walking. That gets me into range here. Walk makes power shot free, so power shotting will do 2 damage to this archer, leaving it with 6 health. I use warrior to close the distance to the bandit archer. Inspire makes the warrior deal 1 additional damage. Now I can play defensive stance strikes swipe to finish off the bandit archer and gain a bunch of block, since defensive stance says defend 2 after performing a melee attack. So I am a big fan of that plan. I'm not going to even think about it more. Going to inspire, not playing clash. Here's the first swipe, gain 2 block. Here's the second swipe. I'm going to move the lizard here. I want this archer to not fire on the lizard. I want it to fire on the warrior. I really do kind of want the lizard to be alive next turn, but if the fighter decides to kill the lizard, I don't think it's a huge loss. And then I think I probably should have recycled a bit better to get the warlord closer to the action, but I'm not too concerned. Oh, that was a good move. by the archer. Definitely should have gotten the warlord around here. That would have been much better. Okay. So, biggest priority here is to start dealing with this bandit fighter. I think our hunter is not going to be doing anything this turn. I'll keep prepare online just in case, but most important thing this turn is March, in my opinion. March activates all allied characters, which includes summons, so my summon gets an extra move. So summons can either move or attack, and they get one action every turn. March gives all your summons an additional action, which can be used to move or attack. For your characters, you cannot use actions to attack. I actually think that would be a little bit overpowered. I think it's been suggested before, but it would be crazy good. Not something you can do. I'm going to move my warrior with this free movement to be one tile over, so now I'm in range of the bandit archer with Intimidate. I'm always playing Intimidate here, so I'll do that now. Okay, so now we get to decide what we're doing about this bandit fighter. I want to play Wide Sweep. Wide Sweep is going to take Prepare off of the bandit fighter. It'll do enough damage to remove it, combined with the Glass Lizard's attack. And for the rest of these two characters, I'll move them Okay, I'm going to move both of them a little bit closer to the action. I'm not too worried about the hunter taking damage from the archer when the archer is weakened. So, this is always happening. And now, I'm definitely playing Wide Sweep, and I don't think I'm playing Advance. So, we'll go ahead and play the rest of the turn this way. Well, I could also use this to move. I don't really want to. I'll just defend. Alright, so this is an interesting turn. Our bandit fighter is still weakened, so I'm not too worried about damage from the bandit fighter this turn. On the other hand, bandit archer put Deadeye on. I do want to get rid of Deadeye this turn. I have Show the Way. So Show the Way I think I'm going to use to put the warlord here in range of the bandit archer. This is going to allow the swipe combo attack plus the warlord to deal enough damage to take Deadeye off of the bandit archer. The Glass Lizard is going to come in to melee with the bandit fighter, and also has a spare attack to start doing damage there. Okay, so this swipe is happening, as I talked about, and I gain 2 defense. Since my warrior is in the middle of everything, I'm going to be playing the extra defense here as well. This attack is going to take away a little bit of the armor. There's no combo strike because the warrior is surrounded by the archer as well. I do want to allow the warlord to have 1 additional block this turn, so I'm going to recycle the swipe in order to play the defensive stance. I will move the Hunter a little bit closer, play Defend, and recycle these 2 cards. So that sequence of actions is why I wanted to give the Warlord 1 additional block, because if he chose to shoot the Warlord instead of the Warrior, would have taken more damage there. Selfless is interesting to draw here. My Warlord is out of armor, so if I don't need to play Selfless, I may just not play Selfless this turn. One thing to calculate here is whether or not I have the ability to kill the Bandit Fighter. I think the answer is just yes. Yes, I can kill the Bandit Fighter. Since I can kill the Bandit Fighter, I will. Unfortunately, Swipe doesn't quite do it. I'll just go ahead and finish off the Warrior with a Wide Sweep. I don't think I need either of these cards this turn. With the Warlord, I'll close to melee range with the Archer. Once I do this, the Archer will have no valid range targets, and it just used its Hidden Run, which is... I don't know if it has more than 1 copy, but Hidden Run is a melee attack that's in this character's deck. I don't think it's possible for this Bandit Archer to deal damage to us this turn. And as for the Hunter, I don't know. I guess I'll hang on to Longshot. I think this battle was oh, he does have another Hidden Run. Not a big deal. Still doesn't do any damage. This battle is all but over. I'm interested to see if this works. It does. So we're gonna Longshot. Longshot is one of my favorite attacks in the game. Always fun to use. I don't know. I'll just finish this game and finish this fight. Oh, there's nowhere else to go there. I did not realize. Whatever. We're still good. I'm going to inspire our summon. That was the backup plan. Now we get our second sequence of level ups. I'm not going to think too hard about what order to do these level ups. For now, I'll just pick the Warlord first. You can see a few more of Warlord's cards. There's Attack, which was recently reworked. It says all friendly characters draw melee attack from their deck and then activate. There's lots of things that the Warlord can do which activates things. One of them is Show the Way, which I think I'm going to take again. Single Out is another option. It's a ranged attack, and it says the next card that is played on the target is returned to its owner's hand after use. This card, funnily enough, there's like no way to get class cards in a different class, so this is a Warlord card. One of the funny things is the Hunter has a card that says every time you play a ranged attack, gain 1 willpower. If this card was in the Hunter's deck, then 2 copies of Single Out would just combo forever, right? Do ranged attack 2, play another Single Out, get your first one back, get 1 willpower, play that one again, get the second one back, gain 1 willpower. But as far as I can tell, there's no way to make it really broken with the Warlord. So I'm not going to take it. We have Bolster. Bolster is a great card. Target friendly character plays a random power card from their deck for free. Power cards can cost 3 willpower or more. There's a power card that costs 4 willpower, which we might see later in the game. And this bolster card plays it from the deck for free. It's like saying, draw a random card, make it cost 0. Draw a random power card, make it cost 0. This card is crazy efficient. And it searches for something that you probably want to play anyway. It's a card that I would probably take in a normal run, but this run, spoiler alert, I want to do crazy things with summons, so I'm just going to be taking all of the Show the Ways, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So I might take a bolster later. It's always nice to have at least one copy of bolster. Late game, you can sculpt your decks to have one character have exactly one power card in their deck. So with bolster, you can make sure to hit that power card. You can play power cards very consistently with a warlord in your deck, and very cheaply. Now, bolster is just a great card. I'd say it's one of the better cards in the game. It's just not quite what I'm doing right now. Probably not the correct choice to skip it, but maybe the fun choice. Here we have some more question marks to head towards. One thing I don't quite like is when it's night, it can be a little bit difficult to read some of the text. It gets a little bit dark for my tastes, but it's okay. We've got two choices. We have some rattling slavers. We can either ambush the rattling guards and free the slavers that way, or we can try and buy a slave. I don't want to buy a slave. We're going to fight them. Let me look at these just to be sure. Yeah, there's nothing here I want to equip, so let's fight. Alright, so this is going to be, by a significant margin, the hardest fight in the game so far. First, we have 3 rattling guards. They're one of the scariest early game enemies. Something I really don't want to face in the first few combats. So I'm glad the game waited until I had 4 levels to give me rattling guards. And they've got... the reason they're scary is basically the deck that they have. So their deck allows them to gain huge amounts of block and contains the power Goad, which you saw earlier with the warrior. It gives you 1 attack for every adjacent ally. So their basic strategy is to walk up, they taunt, which pulls everybody into range and gives them a bajillion block. They play Goad, get a lot of attack, and kill your enemies really fast. So rattling guards are not fun to face in the first combats. They're often a reason that you lose a character. And losing characters is not game over. They just come back with a little bit of health after the battle and gain an injury, which you can then remove with a healing herb. So since healing herbs are a limited resource, you don't want to lose characters in battle much because you're going to run out of that limited resource. Once again, I've started with long shot in my hand. I don't think there's any angle that lets me kill the rattling killer straight off the bat. I really wish there were better indicators for line of sight. The only real way to see line of sight is to do the move, check line of sight, and then undo it. Oh my gosh, I can't undo it. See, why can't I undo it? Why can't I undo that movement? Very frustrating. Well, now I'm stuck here. That is not where I wanted to be for a long shot. But, I mean, I guess we're doing it. I can do 5 damage, so I'll do 5 damage. There is no no way to guess what you can undo and what you can't undo, except there are certain things which you always can't undo. And it's very frustrating. That's one of my biggest frustrations with this game. So the other thing I want to do now this turn, I guess, is get both of these defensive stances into play. So I'm going to move my warrior forward, play defensive stance, play block. Block carries over half to the next turn, so even though warrior is not likely to take damage, I'll still get 2 block next turn, or defense, whatever. 2 defense next turn. I feel like this Rattling Guard is stuck. The enemy stuck bug, it just stayed in the corner and played good. I'm totally okay with that. But I really do feel like that should be fixed eventually. I'm not sure if this was a case of that, since maybe it just wanted to do that anyway. I don't know. But I still find it very fortunate. So this is why I have Wide Sweep. Wide Sweep is about to do 10 damage. So we are going to be defeating some enemies this turn. Head Rush isn't getting played. Since I have defensive stance in play, Wide Sweep is going to give me 4 defense anyway, so I don't need the extra defense from Head Rush. I can just move for free by recycling it, where Head Rush costs 1, so I can move for cost 0. So the thing to calculate here is, like, say I put this hunter here. So the Wide Sweep plus the hunter's attack will take care of the Rattling Guard, which is definitely something I'm doing. But that costs 3. So then I can't play the Clash to also kill the Rattling Killer. So what I'm thinking about doing is keeping this hunter here, moving Warlord here, keep the Rattling Guard alive as much as I'd much rather not do it, because when I clash with the Warlord I'm going to get 2 defense from defensive stance, and the Rattling Guard is going to have to go all the way around the warrior to get to my hunter anyway, so he's going to be pretty safe. Oh, I can also use Swipe instead of Clash, that's cheaper. And then Warlord is still going to be pretty safe. Maybe I'll just do that. So these cards are not being played. I'm going to keep the Lizard in hand, because I might want to play it next turn. This turn could be very painful. You might... Okay, he's not stuck. That's okay. You might see why Rattling Warriors are such a huge pain. Oh, it looks like they were kind, though. So I'm very happy with that. Moving up there. Well, that was strange. He didn't move all the way up to my hunter. He stopped 1 tile away. I have no idea why. Wow, if I had leadership in play that previous turn, I'd be getting 3 willpower from it. That's how crazy that card is. Okay, so one thing that's happening this turn, so it's very annoying that they all have goad in play. I don't know if I can get rid of goad from all of them, but we are definitely killing this guy and playing a Glass Lizard. The question is, where do we play the Glass Lizard? So we can play it up to 2 tiles away from the Hunter. Right now, that's basically here or here. So we move it here, that means it can immediately kill the Rattling Guard when we play March. But it has to move again to get in range of like the other Rattling Guard. If we put it here, it's like in a great spot to body block. So I think we're putting it here. I'm not going to be playing any of these Hunter cards this turn, I think, so I feel safe recycling all of them. And now the first thing to do is show the way here. Now this Rattling Guard has an additional person along the border. That means when I play the swipe, the Rattling Guard will be defeated. Now we can march. But do we want to? We're definitely marching, so the question is where we position the characters after we march. If I move my Warlord here, it can get combo attacks off with this Rattling Guard. Actually, can I kill this Rattling Guard? So I believe this Glass Lizard has 2 attacks queued up. So each one will do 3 plus 2 if I move this next to it. So that's 5 plus a swipe will be lethal. That sounds like a really good deal. So attack. Attack a second time. And now this swipe is lethal. And I can move the Hunter. I'm just going to move him way out of the way. Maybe I should have moved the Warrior up here, but I'm afraid of Goad. I'm more happy to let this Rattling Guard take out the Glass Lizard in 1 turn, but actually didn't quite have enough damage. Okay, that's another reason the Rattling Guard is so scary. He has Draining Strike, so if he draws 3 strikes, it's pretty likely he can play all 3 in 1 turn. That's a really big deal. It can add up to a lot of damage. Draining Strike, you can see in the history, melee attack 1, gain 2 willpower. It's this nice synergy with Goad too, since Goad gives you extra damage, so this melee attack 1 usually deals more damage than 1, if he has the power active. Again, you want to get that power off as soon as you possibly can. I'm just thinking about it real quick, making sure we have lethal this turn, and I do believe we do. So I'll just very quickly implement our lethal damage here. Alright, that was a great fight. I can't believe that fight went that well. This run is by far the smoothest I think I've ever done. So, very happy with that. So I'm leveling up the Hunter, hoping for a few cards. What I was hoping for was another Glass Lizard. That was the biggest thing. I was looking for a card called Flare, which didn't show up. I was looking for maybe another source of Exposed. I was looking for another card that activates all your allies. It's a ranged attack. I didn't find anything I was looking for, except Bone Wolf is going to have to do. We're going to use Bone Wolf as our second, and I suppose we're going to probably stick with 2 summons for a lot of this game. So Bone Wolf is going to be our second one. I don't think I'm ever going to be playing Focus in fights. Let me think about that. I don't think I'm going to be playing Focus in fights, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace it. I don't think the card that you replace is that important as long as you don't replace something that you use all the time, because cards that you don't use usually get recycled for cards that you do use. So a card that you don't use is rarely more effective than another card that you don't use. The biggest cards that I'm using right now are melee attacks. Melee attacks and all the cards that I've added to the deck. So what I really don't want to remove right now is melee attacks, except there's one especially bad melee attack, which is Wild Swing. This is one of the worst cards in the game. This card I'm not very excited to have in my deck, but it is something that I might play eventually. It's definitely the first melee attack I'm going to remove from decks this game. So for this event, I freed the slave. I get a follower. He's a blacksmith. He makes crafting weapons cheaper. This is maybe going to be relevant later. For some reason, the blacksmith and apprentice have the same art. I assume there's a lot of cases that I think there's placeholder art in this game. It's still in early access. I think they're still working on a lot of the art for this game. I assume one of those is going to change at some point. Alright, now we move on to this town. I have a 50% chance of a new follower. I love followers. I don't really need to shop, but I can still have a 50% chance of shopping. Okay, I didn't get a follower. No big deal. One thing that I can do is I can buy wood. Wood is, in my opinion, the best crafting material. It's used in the best items. So I'm going to go ahead and buy wood. It might be a bad choice. Crafting isn't that big of a deal, but I'm okay with doing it. So here we have a group of ratlings that can ambush me if I take a step into them. Ratling warriors, as I said, are a little bit scary, but another thing I kind of want to do is fight as much as possible for score, for levels, for general power level, because I want to be as prepared as I can be before the first fight. All these reasons. Let me equip these hand wraps. The only person with the slot free is Shanna? I don't know. Shanna. So she's gonna get him. And here we go. Alright. We've got 2 Ratling guards, 2 Ratling killers. I think a little bit easier than the previous encounter, but definitely still has the potential to go very wrong. So still have to be very careful about how we play this one. I'm going to centralize my hunter and use the bonus from Walk to play a Bone Wolf. How do I pay for the Bone Wolf? With this advance, I believe. And I'll put it here. Basically, body block the hunter. Oh, wait. Oh, it's a Bone Wolf. For some reason, I thought it was the other one. So the Bone Wolf is much squishier. Again, I can't undo Walk. I guess I should remember that. There's no way to undo Walk. I can't walk anywhere else now. For some reason. Alright, I don't think I am advancing my warrior this turn. Let us Bone Wolf. I kind of want to protect the Bone Wolf. I do not want it to die before my next turn. So instead, I'm going to play it here. This, I think, it's less likely to die. It's still possible. For example, this person could play like advance to here. Actually, I'm not sure it's possible. Thinking about the deck, I'm not sure there's a way for the Ratling Guard to kill this wolf this turn. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with it there. With the wolf guarding my warrior, I'll just play defensive stance. I want to play this defensive stance as well. I will keep my hunter in front and hang on to show the way. Alright, we'll see how many of them actually come towards me. So it's nice that I'm getting much more consistent draws now that I've replaced a few cards. I now have the ability to kill this Rattling Guard pretty easily this turn. We see the Bone Wolf is going to do 2 damage with its combo strike. It's already next to the Rattling Guard. Show the Way is going to give extra attacks. In fact, I'm very heavily considering playing a Glass Lizard, I don't know, here, before I do anything else. There is defensive stance on this, but I'm not sure I'm leaving it there. Alright. So, Glass Lizard here. Show the Way moves here. I allow my warrior to move up here. Now, I attack. I attack again. Show the Way moves back out. I attack one more time. I swipe for the kill. I move in with the warrior. And now I get a couple attacks here. Oh my gosh, I missed lethal. Okay, well that was a mistake. I could have had lethal by moving the hunter in. For some reason I thought the Glass Lizard did 2 damage instead of 3. Like, my brain tends to think that swipes are like the universal damage constant. So, for example, the wolf does 2 damage. The Glass Lizard does 3 damage. So not everything is a swipe. I don't know why the Rattling Killer is running away, but I'm very happy the Rattling Killer is running away. This lets us, I think, clean up this fight pretty easily from here. First thing I'm going to do is move in Bone Dude. Oh. No, I'm not, because I have March here. I'm not playing Ricochet Shot. Am I playing Leadership? I don't feel like calculating all the willpower costs, so I'm just going to wing it this turn. The reason I undid that before is moving my Warlord here and attacking with the Glass Lizard is a kill. Now I can move this guy up here. This here, and this here. The swipe plus the wolf is going to be lethal on that enemy. And how much armor? Okay. I'm not going to bother worrying about this stuff. I'm just going to let this turn happen, and no matter what he does, basically he's dead next turn. He decided to not do anything. Is he still dead next turn? Alright, well that is not one of the things that I accounted for in no matter what he does. It might be that bug with pathing, where like enemies can't figure out how to get places. Oh. Yeah, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll rush over there. And then I'll move the wolf. Might as well prepare. We'll go ahead and intimidate. Alright, so next turn. This turn, we're gonna get him. Okay, I still have lots of armor available. Play Selfless. Show the Way is great. Now we've got basically everybody where we want them. These aren't happening. I'll just inspire the summon. I don't know. I can basically do this however I want. Good. Another clean fight. Now we've got the warrior. Another level up. So you can see lots of options that we have. Defensive movement. Whenever you defend, activate this character. It's not something I want right now. Rush. Pretty mediocre card. Gaining 2 movement this turn is not important. Resilience. Defend 2 at the beginning of your turn. Not excited about that. Challenging Stride. Move 3. Pull all enemies within 3. You know, I might actually take that. Displacing enemies is a pretty valuable thing to have. It's kind of like moving everybody else, which is definitely something I can do. But it's a safe way to pull enemies out of a pack without getting surrounded. It's not... So the best displacement displacement ability I think is there's a hook, which is a ranged attack that reels people in. But I definitely don't have that. I think I'm just gonna take Goad. Goad is just a nice damage ability to have, so yeah, I'll replace Advance with Goad. I'm not super happy about it. It's not what I wanted, but Goad is generally a pretty good card. When I say it's not what I wanted, I am going for a pretty specific summon-based build this game. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it utilizes a lot of the synergies that are built in between characters in a nice way. So, when I'm thinking about card picks, I'm already basically keeping that in mind, since in my mind I've already gotten mostly past the early game hump. So I feel free to build more towards the mid to late game already. And you'll see what sort of crazy stuff that I can pull off later on. Alright, we got another side quest. Side quests are always you go somewhere and then there's an event. I don't know, pretty straightforward. I'm not sure if I can make it here without resting, but my experience with the game tells me I think I can. Okay, so this is the event that tells you to fight Hybrid. Hybrid are big tough enemies basically in an Aurora Storm. It's going to be the toughest fight we've had so far, and oh, well, I thought it was going to be the toughest fight we had so far, but we really lucked out on which hybrids we encountered. The hybrid slavers are by far the easiest. But they have one very scary trick, which is they have that card I just talked about that lets you reel people in. So that's scary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where? Yeah, so if I move and then hit for 7, that's one thing I can do. Show the way lets me move, by the way. Leadership first. Alright. I'm going to use the Warriors cards to provide energy for long shot. I want to keep recycling cards for defense on the Hunter. That's what I want to be doing. But in general, I think that was a very successful first turn. And the Aurora Storm is being a jerk again. There is that card I was talking about, Reel In. Brings my Hunter into the storm. Very nice of them. And think about it, if I had that card that lets me pull in enemies, I could pull these enemies into the Aurora Storm. That's another big benefit of it. Like, being able to pull these enemies from here means that this one goes here, I think, this one goes here. They both take 6 damage at the end of my turn. Really big deal. Definitely powerful thing you can do. You might do some show the way shenanigans this turn, but pretty sure we can't kill anyone. I don't like the places I can place this glass lizard. Wait, why didn't I do that? Let's keep the defend as an option. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm playing wide sweep this turn, as much as it's great. And show the way I'm going to use to retreat. To here. I'm doing it before the glass lizard because I don't see the glass lizard really doing much attacking this turn. Can I undo show the way? I can. Why can I undo that? Okay. I was just thinking maybe I will... Since I don't think I'm doing much this turn, I'm going to save show the way for next turn. And that way I can play the Glass Wizard this turn, plus Goad, and still defend and hold on to the show the way. So that turn wasn't super productive, but that's something that happens in Aurora Storms. You have turns that just aren't productive. Alright, bringing in that. This could be a bit painful for her. It's the problem with Reel In. Suddenly she's on the other side of the map. Not where she wanted to be. This is Prepare. Leadership is still on, which is great. But not for long. There's really... Alright, redraw is probably happening, now that I think about it. But the first thing I do want to do is actually play Show the Way. Then I can redraw. And redraw again. Alright, well that was kind of painful. The hope with all of that is now we can kill this, one of these guys. This guy? Oof. Alright, well, here we go. Wait. Yeah, she wants to be here as a goad. Don't tell me it's not enough. Okay, well, what would have been nice if... The problem with being here is there's no combo attacks, so I guess it was better to be here after all. At this point, I'm gonna have to forego the defend to kill that guy. And very likely, Warlord's gonna be taking damage this turn. But not certain. Very happy with that. Okay. The nice thing here is you can play Intimidate to make these guys pretty useless for a turn. In fact, that's always happening, so I might as well do it. I'm going to let Aurora Storm happen to this lizard. It's not gonna die, so it's alright with me. Alright, we're going to attack here. Use our free movement and gain one block with this. Oh boy. I think we're successfully navigating this fight. Ooh, long shot potential. It's always fun to be able to use a long shot. I try to do it when I can. We are gonna get rid of this guy, I believe. So this is 2, 4, plus 3. Alright, so we don't need Inspire. So get rid of Inspire, and I'm basically gonna trap this guy here against the wall. Maybe that wasn't smart. Whatever. I don't think I need to be playing precisely for the rest of this fight. No damage anyway. Alright. GG. Victory. Here we have a quiver. Really nice if you're doing range damage, I guess. Draw a card. The next ranged attack you play this turn costs -2 willpower. Costs 1. I don't know how much I am actually using ranged attacks. Hard to tell for me if it's worth using. Offensive stance definitely doesn't seem worth it right now on him, because it's probably not something I'm going to take the time to play. Once again, I'm going to level up the Warlord here. And once again, I'm going to take Show the Way. Show the Way is one of my favorite cards in the game, even if it's not the most powerful. It's just a lot of fun to use. And we got another new follower. This one is a Trapper. This is one of the best followers in the game. 25% chance to gain 1 food supply when camping. So when you camp, it costs half a food supply. So basically this turns the cost from half a food supply to, a quarter of a food supply on average. So it's a pretty significant amount of food over the course of the run. More food means more everything, really. You can turn almost every resource in this game into food. So whenever you get a follower or thing that gives you more food, that is the only follower that gives you more food, by the way. It's very nice. So we're going to rest again. I don't think there's any crafting or honing I want to do at this point in the game. And we will continue on in this direction. I feel like doing a side quest. Hopefully it won't disappear right when I decide to go. Yep, this is another simple shop. Has a bunch of items I don't want. This is new. Cleaver. Pull target enemy within 2 spaces, then melee attack and inflict defenseless. What the heck? So defenseless means they can't gain defense. I really hope no enemies have this. Execute. Destroy an adjacent character with 10 health or less. Wow. That is actually a really inefficient way to do damage. But if you have some way to cheat it out, I guess it's really nice. Anyway, I can't buy it, it's too expensive. But those are some interesting cards. Grapple seems very strong. I'd say Grapple is probably one of the best melee attacks I've seen in this game. So yeah, I'd be happy to take a card that just had Grapple and not Execute, and didn't cost 200. So we'll try and efficiently visit all these question marks. Hope our quest doesn't randomly time out again. Oh, here's another side quest, going all the way back there. Food! Always take food. Even if it's not the right moral decision, I don't know. It's my decision. Okay, well that wasn't much food. Oh well. Time to rest again. And food. We will sell the quiver and the lightning rod. Don't think I'm using those in order to pick up more food. Yep. Another side quest. Oh boy. I think I'm basically giving up on that one. Backtracking is pretty bad in this game because there's no more events, so there's no more food, so it costs a lot of food, doesn't usually give you very much. We're going to fight these guys. I think going here is good enough. These guys often have food, plus it's another battle. You take all the battles you can. I'm full health, I might as well. Alright. Darn it. I was really hoping to start with long shot. Since these guys don't have very much health, you can usually kill them turn 1. Kill one of them turn 1 if you've got a long shot. Alright, I think... I'll start out with the stuff that's definitely getting played. Leadership is being played, and I think defensive stance is being played. So now, I feel okay. Trying out ricochet shot, I don't understand it, but... Oh, so it can't hit this guy because a ranged attack can't hit adjacent enemies, so it can only hit the enemies that are far away. This card is very confusing, and it's random, and it's not that powerful. I don't know. Not a big fan. Okay, not the cards I wanted to see turn 2. We're probably going to redraw something or another. Wow, these guys really charged in. Well, wide sweep is definitely getting played. Probably gonna kill this Ozolid since it's the easiest. Well, okay. So Inspire is interesting. Oh, that's not... Why did I think it was... Oh, okay. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so it's hard to get Warrior in position to wide sweep. I'm starting to think that we're going to redraw here, because Show the Way is something I want to be playing. And I don't think we're playing a summon this turn, so I feel comfortable showing the way right now. And then we also march. We wide sweep. And we swipe. So, to pay for wide sweep, I'm going to get rid of these two. Play the card. Combo attacks on both of these. Now, we swipe here, and we swipe here, and I'm gonna run away a bit. Maybe step up one. I'm stepping up one because it makes it a little bit hard, a little bit more awkward for the enemy to get combo attacks in. But usually not too hard for them to do it anyway. These guys are combo attack masters. Alright, that wasn't painful at all. We've got a long shot again. It deals 4 damage. That's not very much. I'm going to go ahead and just get a summon out. We'll choose the Glass Wizard. Here, I'll move this guy up one. Then discard defend, play the Glass Wizard. Glass Lizard. Here. Here. Show the way. Which gives me 1 willpower. Selfless, I play Show the Way first because playing Selfless is going to get rid of leadership because I take 2 damage. So I want the willpower from Show the Way first. Now I'm going to get back into position here and take out this Ozolid here. I don't need that, but I guess it doesn't hurt. Move into melee range. Goad. Swipe. Intimidate. Good fight! Alright. This seems like just a win. Might as well, I don't know, inspire. Alright, well, never mind. Miscalculated, no big deal. Needed to not inspire. Good fight. Haven't lost health in like several fights now. Feeling very good about this run. Alright, we want some good stuff from the hunter. And we found some stuff we were looking for. So, exposed. Flare, inflict exposed to all enemies in the target area. This is something we have been looking for. Signal shot, ranged attack 3, then activate all other friendly characters. This is just like the Warlord keeps activating everybody. This is going to activate everybody. But it's not what we're looking for quite as much as Flare. So here we're going to replace one of our power shots with Flare. Oh, we still had an advance. Could have done that too. Not a big deal. I'm just gonna go for this quest because I'm paranoid it's gonna disappear. Alright. So this is the Adam quest. We've got a follower named Adam who has a grudge against these slavers. I kind of skipped past the text earlier, and we are going to allow him to exact revenge and try and get a perk. I don't think I've ever gotten a perk from that. I'm not sure if you can get a perk from that, but maybe I'm really unlucky with the 50% chance. Yeah, so we're gonna head down here, force the door open. So, I think this event, if you read the text, your eyes are drawn to a small circle of standing stones. In the center lies a tall staff forced into the ground like a stake. It has a curious green gemstone set at the top that sparkles even in the low light. The whole place feels like it has been conjured up. I am worried that this is the shaman fight, and I don't need a staff, and I don't want to fight a shaman. So I'm going to explore the garden, and I didn't find anything, but it's okay. Didn't have to fight 2 shamans. 50% chance of reward, sure. Always unlucky. I feel like, so last patch they buffed the amount of food you got. I feel like you can wander a lot more than you used to be able to. It used to be much more tight on food. You generally just had to go straight to your destination. Speaking of food, we've gotten really unlucky with these 50% chances. Now we've got some epic equipment we can craft. The most tempting one here is the Mithril Shield. And you know what? I'm going to craft it. So I'm going to spend a lot of these resources that I've collected, and I'll get this amazing shield which has 3 cards, and I want them all. So here we go. Confirm. Yeah, rest. Crafted the shield. And we're going to equip that on our warrior semi-shortly. In fact, right now. Here we have one of the best events in the game. This, if I could choose the first event to get every game, I would choose this event. You can choose to scour the riverbed, which causes a fight but gives you lots of food, and then you win the fight and you get more food, and it's great. And the fight is one of the easiest fights to take as your first fight. There's only 2 enemies at the very beginning stages of the game, so it's a very very safe fight to take as your first fight. Obviously things can always go wrong for your first battle, but it's definitely one that I like to take. We're a bit further in the game, so instead of having 2 basilisks, we have 4 basilisks. I did not think there would be that many. Still, shouldn't be that big of a deal. For once, I'm going to be playing Prepare this fight. Prepare gives me +1 willpower at the start of my turn, every turn. This fight could actually be trouble. So, while it's the first fight that I like to take at the beginning of a run, maybe not the fight I want to be taking right now. We will still make do. For once, we'll be playing a whole bunch of powers for our first turn. No head rush. So these guys' gimmick is that they have Iron Skin and Bulwark. Iron Skin and Bulwark. Iron Skin gives them melee resistance. Isn't gonna matter too much. Bulwark gives them 6 block, which is a big deal. They also have block, which gives them 4 block. They generally make a lot of block, and they're tanky. That doesn't stop them from dying really quickly if you surround them. So that's the strategy. We're gonna surround them. And summons are going to be very useful in that regard. Protector is a great card. We just got it, but I'm not going to talk about it because we're not using it this turn. I'm going to play both summons. We're gonna get all of the surrounding that we can, while we can. And the idea is next turn, we're gonna go off a little bit. I don't know why this basilisk is running away. I'm very confused by the AI sometimes. I think I've said that at least once? At least once. Maybe. Alright, so you are going to see how Iron Skin does not help at all against a very large number of combo attacks. And first thing we're going to do is show the way, then march, and I'm even going to redraw and show the way again. 1, 2, 3. So when I show the way again, I'm going to go up there. Okay. These guys are in trouble. You know what? Undo that move. I wish I still had that protector. I don't know why I chose swipe there. Put him here. Just long shot? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna think about that too hard. He had a fantastic turn 2. Couldn't have asked for more. We're gonna do the same thing to this guy. You'll see how useful Iron Skin is here. Use Goad to just move over here. I'm just kind of going all out a little bit to show you what Expose does. Again, Iron Skin real useful here. And we'll just corner this guy. Ricochet shot him, a good measure. Intimidate, why not? There. Can long shot from here. Draw it. Aha. Can I see him? Long shot. Oh, Iron Skin is doing something. Prevented the long shot dream, right? More wood, very welcome. Food, very welcome. See, this is just the combat reward. And then after the combat reward, you'll see why I like this event so much. Here we're going to take another copy of Intimidate. Again, Intimidate is a fantastic card, and I'm very happy to have it. I'm going to be replacing the worst attack I think it's finally time to get rid of that. Oh wait, what? Where's the food? Okay, I'm such a big liar. I thought there was gonna be food. I don't know. Okay, so this fight is going to demonstrate the second environmental hazard in this game. This is a sun flare. All characters that end their turn not adjacent to an obstacle take 2 unblockable damage. So basically, you're always going to want to end your turn next to an obstacle. Very simple. In theory. The AI is very good at doing that. Luckily, these maps seem to always have obstacles or cover, so not a big deal. Leadership is a nice draw. I like so many of the draws in these hands. Let's see. I'm considering coming down here and intimidating these folks, but I don't think I can make it. See, show the way gives 2 movement, 2 movement. They're probably just gonna hunker down behind these obstacles a little bit, and then do some stuff next turn. In fact, I'm gonna redraw here because I want to find something a little bit better. Bone Wolf is something a little bit better. That is in range of skirmisher point of view. That's okay. We're going to be keeping Intimidate and Wide Sweep for next turn. Just cards that are too good. So I completely forgot to mention, this is the last, I think, charred enemy in the game. It's a charred cultist, and it's one of the so-called elites in the game. So elites have a special ability. This one says, deal 2 magic damage to all adjacent enemies whenever the cultist takes damage. It is very annoying. It can be stopped by Intimidate. That'll probably be used at some point in this battle. Cultist also has 4 cards each turn instead of 3, so that's a decent bit stronger. Generally a pretty tough enemy, in my opinion. I'm going to want to get the warrior. I feel like there's a dream of getting the warrior here and then Wide Sweep plus Intimidate. I don't know if it's just a dream. Okay, well, this guy I think is always going here. None of this is getting played. Show the way. And then march. I guess we're not shield bashing. Keep in mind, I've got defensive stance, so Wide Sweep is going to give me 6 block. So, great card. We're gonna put our Warlord back next to an obstacle. Intimidate comes first, because Intimidate is going to reduce the charred cultist damage. Now Wide Sweep. Okay. And then the Bone Wolf will finish off the Archer. And I guess just 1 block here. I took 2 unblocked damage from being right in the middle here, but I think that's a very acceptable compromise, so not disappointed. Wow, Charred Cultist really doing work that turn. making even though he still had a stack of weakened on him, still played like, yeah, all these damaging abilities. Managed to kill off my wolf, managed to do some damage to my hunter. This turn, I want to kill the charged skirmisher. I think the cultist used a lot of his most dangerous cards in his deck, so I'm not too worried about him this turn. He inflicted burning on my warlord, which means at the end of the turn, he'll take 3 damage, which can be blocked. I'm not terribly worried about that. So what I think I want to do is I want to play Glass Lizard. I want to get Protector in play, and Protector says that whenever this character defends itself, all other friendly characters within range 3 gain half of that defense. So this is going to be blocking a lot of damage for everybody on the map. Very useful. Okay, so I don't think these 2 cards are happening. Show the way, maybe. But that would be after Glass Lizard. I don't think I'm redrawing this turn, so we're going to discard Walk. I'll put the Glass Lizard here. And then show the way. Just kind of wander a bit. Move. So the big question I have now is, oh wait, can I play Head Rush? I think I'm not playing Head Rush this turn. So I will just recycle it, Protector, move my Hunter in range of Protector, so three tiles. I will block. And I don't want to end the turn out in the open this time. So take my free action, free movement right here. I don't want to attack the cultist because that'll trigger volatile twice. Once for the attack, once for the combo attack. So I'm just going to leave my Glass Lizard here at the end of the turn. Intimidate is great. That's a card I was not looking for, but it's alright. No damage in the end. Long shot is an interesting option here, but it's going to be very difficult for it to do damage to the cultist. On the bright side, volatile won't matter if nobody is next to the cultist. But first things first, I don't like any of those cards. They're gonna get a new set. Alright, no clash this turn. Defend is definitely happening. I'm going to intimidate now. Show the way, just to go somewhere. we're going to actually use Arcing Shot and Prey on this Charred Skirmisher. I think. Oops. I'm going to use this for another defense at the end of the turn. So, Arcing Shot, please. Alright. I'm going to hang on the long shot and recycle the swing. He can do some serious damage to me, but he's weakened, so he probably won't do serious damage to me. Okay. Yeah, long shot is just not looking very good this game. The Charred Cultist is a very frustrating enemy. I just wanted to put that out there. Oh, whoops. Maybe some mistakes were made. Whatever. We're taking some damage. At last. Wide sweep. Where were you? Alright, so this is... This is this. This is this. Okay. We get a useless item and obsidian coins. And a level up. That's the real reward. Now, we finally get to take one of these cards that's not Show the Way. The game decided not to give it to us. The options are Back-to-Back, Encourage, and Bolster. I believe we've already seen all these other cards already. You know what? I think the card I want the most at the moment is Encourage. So Encourage is going to allow all of these summons, all of these attacks to deal 1 more damage. It doesn't increase the damage of combo attacks, that's important, but it's going to still be a very valuable damage increase. And now, I think we're getting close to the first leg of the journey, its ending point. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. This is a boss battle. Beginning of the game is probably not when you want to fight a boss battle, but you know what? I'm feeling pretty confident about it. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the trick bow off. I don't think I want either of these two cards in this boss battle. What I do want is to be able to get to the Bone Wolf and the Glass Lizard a little bit more quickly. The Minor Speed Potion, it's a little bit tempting to put it on the Warrior, but I've got Head Rush. For mobility, I've got Show Me the Way, or Show the Way. On Warlord, I'm not too worried about mobility. Hand wraps, I think, are going to be coming off in favor of a leather shield here. And Metal Axe is a little bit tempting now. There's only going to be one enemy in the next combat. This is going to be just better against one enemy. And I think those are the changes that I want to make. And I'm going to give this a shot. So here we have our first boss. This is a boss. Just like the elites, every boss has a powerful effect that is just passive. This one has all its ranged attacks deal +1 damage, just always. Plus that, bosses always get 3 bonus willpower at the start of their turn. Bosses have 4 or 5 cards in their hand. So all of that makes, and they've got a ton of HP. All of that makes up for them being just one enemy you have to defeat. This fight is going to be the hardest fight so far in the game. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna guarantee that. And we'll see how it goes. Our priorities here are going to be getting our summons out, getting our key powers out. We want Protector. Protector is very important. We want Encourage. Encourage is going to be very important in this fight. I'm very happy that I started with a Glass Lizard in my hand. That is exactly the summon I wanted to play here. This guy basically walks around and spams ranged attacks. He's difficult to corner, does a lot of damage. We are probably going to take quite a bit of damage this fight. We are also hopefully going to show you the power of surrounding enemies with summons. And Intimidate is going to be very nice, going to prevent quite a bit of damage. Right now, I'd say we have 2 priorities. So one priority is getting in closer to this enemy so that we can actually attack it with all of our melee. So to that goal, I will start with Show the Way. I will move my Hunter forward as well. Move Warrior over here. Defend is happening. Block is happening. And these cards are not. So we will play a Glass Lizard as close as possible. And I'm just going to advance one more. So that's turn 1. It's not the turn 1 I would have liked to see. Volley Fire. Volley Fire is basically this guy's signature thing. Volley Fire says every time he plays a card, he makes a ranged attack against someone random. He plays a lot of cards. So you see how much damage he just did in turn 1. I still thought it was more important to try and rush him down. He still managed to run away annoyingly far. I really need to get Volley Fire off of this spike back before next turn. So that is the priority, I think. So I'm going to look at seeing what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this plus show the way doesn't get an attack off on the spike back. I don't have any attacks in either hand. This is really frustrating. We are going to, in that vein, walk forward, play the Bone Wolf here. The Bone Wolf walks 1 and attacks. Plus the combo. Plus head rush. Alright, I think we can get it done. So the card defensive stance and defend have to be sacrificed here to play a Bone Wolf. We play Show the Way. This Bone Wolf gets into melee range. And this other summon is going to start going up the board here. We're not going to be able to get rid of Volley Fire. The best we can do, unfortunately, is get Volley Fire down to 1 resilience. And that will have to be okay. It's a little bit frustrating that I can't play both Intimidates, but you do what you can. Oh, maybe I could have head rushed up here. Then that would have gotten Volley Fire off. I don't think the difference is very large, so I'm not too concerned. Wing Smash, that's what I expected. But the important thing is getting everybody close. He can fly, that's the worst thing he could do right now. Flying allows him to go anywhere on the map. But it's a kind of expensive card. These are not the cards I want here. I want Flare. We are going to be trying to do a lot of damage this turn. That is the plan. So, Flare. Uh-huh. We have March. I think we're going to be going for Selfless here. Not Encourage. Still not what I wanted to see. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, Encourage is being played then. Charge is... I guess defensive stance charge. This was actually a pretty disappointing turn. I wanted to do much more damage than this. I'm very worried that he's going to fly away. Oh my gosh. And now all the progress we made is basically undone. What I think I want to do is hide up here That'll make it very difficult for him to hit us in line of sight. Dear. Alright, we'll try and get him to come to us. Of course, volley fire is back. Oh, fly! Where's he going? Oh, that sucks. Once again, he chooses the worst place to fly to. I'm actually amazed. On the bright side, he cannot ranged attack from this location. So, at least there's that. I'm going to let my summon be in melee range. We're gonna flare. Maybe run back a bit. I want Protector. Maybe Shield Bash I'll hang on to. And one attack. So he's probably going to get a lot of work done this turn. Oh, I maybe could have blocked this off so we can't push away the Glass Wizard with Wing Smash. That would have been much smarter. Oh my gosh, that might have been a big mistake. Now Encourage is gone. I don't understand. I didn't realize you're allowed to play Wing Smash without an adjacent target. And he's back in the corner. Oh, what a smart enemy. Okay, so let's do this properly this time. Go here. And now defend. We want Goad played. Might as well defend. And we'll keep Shield Bash up again. Alright. That's what I wanted to see. Let's redraw. Flare is okay. Selfless maybe. Getting low on health, but as long as you can win, right? No flying. Oh boy. That's great. Oh, unfortunately, maybe my positioning could be better. Without any activations, all I can do is hit for 3. Okay, there it is. Okay. Let's see if we can long shot him to death. That is the best I can hope for. Please be visible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. He has iron skin. Of course he has iron skin. That's okay. No big deal. I thought that would knock off volley fire, if I'm being honest. I'm pretty unhappy that it didn't. Alright, we survived this turn. Oh boy, perfect. Now we just have to, I don't know, win. I don't know how. There isn't actually a way, is there? What am I doing? Let's bring these guys over. Oh, this was not a good way to end the fight. But at least this should really be the end of the fight. So that was a boss battle. That was a boss battle. I don't know. I'm being sloppy, even in victory. And here we level up. Bulwark is exactly what I want. Now that I have Protector, I can use Bulwark to defend 3 for everybody on my team. Bulwark is basically the card I want from now on. So very happy to see it. I'm going to replace Adrenaline. And look at all the gear we got. We get our first legendary item, the Robe of Omari. It's a very good one. Or it's situationally a very good one. It says the first card played each turn costs +1 willpower, unless it is a power, in which case it costs -2 willpower and you draw a card. So that's the sort of thing that you can build around. Make sure that you basically play a power every turn, and then it's very nice. I would probably I will probably be playing it on my Warlord. It has some great cards. Rally, gain 4 willpower, cost 2. If you think about just recycling a card, gains 1 willpower, cost 0. Rally does 1 better than that, gains 4 willpower, cost 2. So Rally is a nice card to have. It's basically 1 extra willpower whenever you draw it. Having too many rallies isn't very good because you can't have too much willpower, but it is hard to have too many rallies, especially at this point in the game. Black and Tome. This is another new card. Magic attack 2 and inflict defenseless on all targets in the indicated area. It looks like defenseless is becoming a keyword that's being used a lot more in this game. I'm not sure how good this card will be. It's pretty hard to tell without trying it out, but seems interesting to have anyway. Chain Spear. I get 2 copies of Reel In. This is a very good item. It is something that I am probably going to use. After that fight, hopefully we get a little bit of downtime here. We're gonna visit the shop, play our game. We won. That's always a nice profit. And unfortunately only 1 food. Not really anything I want to buy here. I could buy a heavy breastplate actually, but probably the card it would replace is being replaced by Robe of Omari, so probably not going to do that. Bone Helm also I don't think I need, so we're just going to rest. Oh, I could talk about honing equipment now. So honing equipment is the means to take a card that has 3 cards, and then you can permanently choose one of these cards to remove. I'm not going to do it on a Mithril Shield, because a Mithril Shield, I like all 3 items right now. But, for example, I don't know if there's any good examples right now of cards that I might want to hone. So I'm probably not going to hone a card, hone an item. Unfortunately, you can't hone legendary items. There's some legendary items that would be much better if you were allowed to, but you are not. And so I will just rest without doing anything else, gain back some of my missing health. This is a nice offer. Basically you just get food, take a bit of damage, little unlucky, not a big deal. Okay. This is the Gem of True Sight. It's very expensive, not very good. Can't even afford it without selling a bunch of stuff, though I could definitely sell a bunch of stuff. This is the point in the game where you start thinking about selling a lot of your extraneous items. Gold you tend to have an abundance of by late game. Early game, pretty restrictive, even though it's when you really want to buy items. Late game, you've got a ton of gold, but you don't really want to buy items. Oh well. I'm gonna dodge the hybrids right now. And we'll see if I can get to this quest over here. With my luck... Oh my gosh, this is a long way. I really wish there was some way to know how far away the quest is going to be. Also, I don't know which quest it is. Oh boy. Whatever. I don't want to fight while tired. I'll take the gold, even though I don't like gold. That was a pretty bad detour. This is also not an event I want to take. I'm not interested in injuries. And we're going to head towards our objective. Oh, this was a huge detour. I'm tired and out of food. So, one thing I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to rest here. Which is, I'm going to starve, which is going to make me lose health. So this is already a great start. I probably should have crafted something. I didn't realize I had the resources to craft. And we're going to do this fight. I'm going to use my last healing herb to heal about half of my ranger's health. And this should be good enough to win this fight that is about to come up. Also, I'm going to shuffle around a little bit. Put the wide sweep back on the warrior. I want the robe of Omari. I want that to be on the warlord, I think. No. I'll put it on the warlord. And then U longbow gives me another copy of Longshot, so I think I'm okay equipping that. Chain spear I'm going to put on my warrior. I have a few too many attacks for my liking right now, with Protector in the deck, but I still think this is worth it. And then there's not really anything I want to do to my warlord. I still like the bone hammer better than the metal axe, if only a little bit. So Blackened Tome is the only question. Do I want to equip the Blackened Tome? I'm thinking no. And I think I'm just gonna go with this. So this is big fight, basically. We've got a Rattling Sorcerer, gain +2 defense at the start of turn for every other enemy unit. And we have 4 Rattlings. So basically you have to kill the other Rattlings, and then the Rattling Sorcerer. And the Rattling Sorcerer will play lots of powers to give everybody willpower. We'll give everybody defense. We'll cast lightning on you, which we'll probably see pretty soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so somebody is getting long-shotted this turn. I'm pretty happy about that. We will start with Selfless. Show the Way seems like it's going to be played this turn. To get my Hunter in position to long shot. But I think I want to play Glass Lizard too. Definitely playing Battle Stance. It's basically free because it draws a card. Okay, that's not exactly free, but alright, so Glass Lizard I'm going to play here. Show the Way. Move my Glass Lizard up a bit. I'm gonna put like a formation around here, I guess. Except my Hunter, go down here. I don't need these. I just need to long shot for 8. And hang on to Intimidate. And that's the first turn. Pretty happy with the first turn. This is mostly what the Sorcerer does. Plays stuff like Spark over and over again. You'll see some powers from him. For the most part, he's actually not too dangerous to just leave, staying back there all by himself. So that's what you usually just end up doing. I want to find a power for Robe of Omari, so I'm going to dig for one. Goad isn't what I wanted, as much as Protector, but I'll take what I can get. We've drawn another long shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's a 5 damage long shot for 3. I think we can kill the Rattling Guard without it. We're going to probably be playing Encourage and Leadership here. Go down here and move into this spot. We get 2 attacks. Plus a swipe. Oh, maybe that's inefficient. Oh my gosh, it does a lot of damage. And we will bulwark. And bring the hunter up a bit. Now you can see the power bolster. Playing an expensive card for free. Playing another expensive card for free. Look at that. That's the most expensive power in the game. Gets it for free. So lightning is the most dangerous thing the Rattling Sorcerer can do. It's the one thing we really just don't want to see him use. But that's okay. It's okay for him to use lightning a couple times. Not the end of the world. So once again, I'm going to make sure I can use the Robe passive. I want to put a Bone Wolf out there. Block. Gives everybody block. We will be showing the way and marching, I guess. It's a little bit unfortunate that we don't have an attack to deal with this Rattling Guard. Quite unfortunate, actually. Reel in is not something I can play. It's a ranged attack. So the big idea here, I think, is to move here and reel in this dude. Attack this dude. Intimidate. And kind of put forward my summon as the only enemy in contact with the goaded Rattling Guard. So you can see we're kind of a little bit over-prepared for this fight. It's definitely much easier than the boss fight we took maybe foolishly earlier. But the most difficult part is you just take care of a few Rattling Guards, or like Rattlings, as quickly as possible before the Rattling Sorcerer gets all of its powers off, and then you're in pretty good shape for this battle. Alright. Gonna have to play a very expensive swipe. can see I'm getting a little bit sloppy. Definitely possible to defeat that Rattling Guard that turn. Oh boy. So we have 2 armor left on our Warlord, so I feel okay playing Selfless. And then of course, Show the Way. Maybe not the best positioning there. Definitely a slight mistake. I'm going to make sure that in range there. Now just takes 1 hit. Okay. Bring our bowman a little bit closer. Then we're not playing these. We're gonna go rally, head rush, giving everybody block, wide sweep, intimidate, defend, and I think this fight is pretty much wrapped up. Call Lightning doing 0 damage. It's the very nice thing about being weakened. I'm pretty happy to have Reel in here. Lair. It's gonna help make sure that we can do all this in 1 turn. We're gonna get everybody lined up and finish with a 7 damage strike. Alright, clean fight. I'm not sure I lost HP. Nebulous Star. 1 willpower every turn. Every time you take damage, take 1 additional damage. It gives you 2 copies of Rally and 1 copy of Meditation. It's all about energy. This is a nice one to have. You put it on somebody, and you put them like way out of harm's way. And it's basically 1 willpower every turn and some good cards. Definitely something I'm planning on using. I think it's my Hunter's deck is to the size where I think I want 1 more Glass Lizard. So I'm going to replace another Power Shot. Because it's a boss fight, we get 2 more level ups. We have the Warlord. We have another copy of Show the Way, so I'm just gonna snap it up. Replace Defend at this point. And for the Warrior, looking for Bulwark, we got 1. At this point, I think Swipe is gonna go. I think I'm going to start attacking less and less with my Warrior, and basically summons are going to be the ones doing most of the attacking. So the story basically, we picked up the Water Gem, but it's inactive, so now we've got to wander somewhere else and charge it up. Basically stole the Water Gem from the people that are here. We're probably going to do bad stuff on the way too. We're not great people. It's okay. It's okay. I don't like either of these items. Definitely not going to use either one. Not much to say. Inferno Tome, just... spells are very expensive. It's hard to use them. They're not good enough for how expensive they are. Immolate, I don't know. Immolate's so slow. It doesn't deal that much damage. It does deal a lot of damage over time. I don't know. I'm just not happy about any of these. Fireball's probably the best card here. 3 magic damage anywhere on the map. Inflict burning to all characters in target area. There's ways to deal with the 4 cost. But definitely not going to be running the Inferno Tome. Also got some food. Food is very important. And hopefully we'll be okay on the next leg of our journey. Now I'm going to craft another card. Trying to decide what to do. I'm thinking about a few different options. So one of them is the Dwarven Lantern. Dwarven Lantern has alertness, draw 2 cards for 1, so it's free card draw in some sense, because you can always convert one of the cards that you drew, so then it's basically a cantrip, 0 cost, draw 1. So quick thinking, draw a card, next card you play this turn costs -1 willpower. Just straight up willpower advantage. Rally, willpower advantage. Always good. So this is one of the cards that I'm always interested in crafting. It costs 2 wood. One reason why I've been collecting some wood over the course of this run. Some other options. Most stuff I just can't craft, so not really an option. Not interested in any ranged weapons. So yeah, it's basically down to the torch, and I think I'll just craft the Dwarven Lantern as my first crafted item. First? Second? I don't know. Maybe first? I can't remember. Now this is a little bit concerning. I don't quite remember which places we've already been down here, so I might accidentally be doing a little bit of backtracking in this leg of the journey. I'm going to be taking a fight. I wish there was a way to just stand still. Oh well. Would have been slightly more efficient, I think. So, as with most charred fights, we're hoping for no charred cultists. First, of course, we've got to set up what we want. I'm going to put the Nebula Star on our Hunter. Just feels like the place it belongs. Similarly, the Dwarven Lantern I want on our Warlord. The more show the ways we can play every turn, the better. And Dwarven Lantern is great at letting you play more show the ways every turn. So I think it's the fit. And all the other cards here I don't really want to play right now, so I won't. Okay, no charred cultist. Pretty happy with that. Just 5 enemies. Just 5 enemies. You notice the encounters are starting to get much harder. I think it goes with time and not... I think the encounters get harder with time and not with legs of quest you complete, but I really don't know. So that's one of the game mechanics questions I'd maybe like to have answered at some point. You notice we have a lot of redraws available now, so we can pretty consistently find certain cards that we want to see at the beginning of the fight. So fights are going to start to be much more consistent from this point on. Walk into Rally is a nice combo. I'm going to redraw until I get, a Bone Wolf and Meditation. Meditation gets played. Bone Wolf is going to help protect my Hunter, who takes 1 additional damage every time he takes damage. And here, we're going to play Encourage. And, like usual, hold on to a copy of Show the Way. Protector, great draw. I have a feeling my warrior's about to take damage. Maybe not. Oh, the wolf is dead. A little bit unlucky for the wolf to be taken down instantly like that, but not a big deal. So you see, because we played Meditation, we get +2 willpower every turn. So Meditation is a pretty nice card to have, though it's pretty expensive. Not something you're always going to be playing for sure. So free Protector seems like a no-brainer. Rally just makes sense to play. Long Shot isn't quite going to kill here. We have +1 damage, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so do 7 damage. I'm not sure if you can see him from here. Okay, so we're probably going to be using Long Shot to take out the Charred Skirmisher this turn. Did I play Leadership? No, just Encourage. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Just checking. I can still undo the Glass Lizard. Here we go. Glass Lizard goes here. Show the Way gets everybody in place, including this guy. We play a Long Shot. We play another Show the Way. We're gonna bring the Hunter a little bit more forward. How about here? So now it's in range of Protector. And we play Bulwark. And I don't think I played that turn quite properly, but we're gonna say it's good enough. Retreat a little bit. Make sure this Charred Warrior has to spend a card coming towards us. Which didn't even do. Rally is great. Bulwark. Oh. Well, that's easy then. So Show the Way down here. And now we can clash, but one nice thing about Clash is it literally deals double damage. So it scales very well with extra damage. It's one of the better attacks in the game. Usually enemies are going to have blocks, so it will really do double damage. Okay, I'm going to swipe. Let the lizard finish this guy off, and then move in place for here. Now I can clash this warrior. defend. Intimidate, make sure we don't really take damage. Move up here. Looking good. Now, rest of the fight, basically cleaning up. Alright. We've still got room to play Selfless. Let's get a battle stance out there. Sure, show the way. Another block into shield bash. And that's it. Alright, so I think I will leave it off here for today. I'm just going to take myself one more flare. And I think this is a good place to stop. We can finish this run next time.